I don't know if my computer's recording or not. Oh, finally. We're in business. I have had technical difficulties up to my eyebrows tonight, and it's just been a nightmare. So, anyway, thank you, viewers. Thank you, subscribers. I appreciate you more than you know, and thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you. I always appreciate you. I don't take any of you for granted. You should know that by now. Thank you. So, I'm hoping this does what it's supposed to do and doesn't do jerky, weird things, because I've had enough for one night with this technical stuff. I've had enough. Anyway, I also had notes for this video, and I can't find them. So, we're going to wing it. How about we do that? It's not like we haven't done that before. Okay. So, I used to pursue the entertainment industry. I used to pursue acting. This was back in the 90s, and I was working a part-time job where I was able to do auditions. And bear with me one second. Sorry, guys. Okay, sorry about that. I saw we. Okay, so I was doing auditions. I was working a part-time job, and my boss let me do auditions, which is really cool. How many bosses are going to let you do that? Not too many. So it was interesting. I live 45 minutes away from Kansas City, and my auditions were in the Kansas City area. Now, this area is not booming for that type of thing, especially if you are not white. I went there, yes, I did. If you're white, you'll probably get all kinds of stuff, but if you're not, of course, that type of attitude is pervasive throughout the entire country. But certain areas are worse than others, if you catch my drift, okay? Anyway, and I've talked about that in other videos with this area in particular, Missouri, Kansas, that type of thing. It's just a different situation. So anyway, there was one audition where I modeled my feet, and it was for Hallmark cards. When I went in there, the guy had a cow because I had a tattoo on my ankle. And he acted like I ruined his entire day because I had a tattoo on my ankle. So my friends were like, all they have to do is digitally remove that. So what's the big deal? I don't know. I don't know. There's different rules for men and women. Men can be overweight, have a receding hairline, teeth all jacked up, looking like he's been chewing on bricks. And that's cool. He will be on a soap opera for many years. Let a woman try that. It doesn't work. There's different rules for men and women in the industry. I pursued for 3 years. One of the auditions that I went on, my agent, who's in Kansas City, my agent told me that this was for a commercial for a college, to promote a college. Long story short, a couple went in before me. When they came out, her lipstick was smeared all over the place and her hair was all over her head like a bird's nest. And when myself and another guy walked in, they basically were like, Have you ever seen a couple that's all over each other? I'm like, yeah, my friend's going through that right now. And they're like, well, that's what we want you to do. Now, when I walked in there, one of the guys had a handlebar mustache. I'm not kidding. I'm so serious. He looked like a porn director from the 80s. So we didn't do any kissing or anything like that, but we were all over each other, and I can't wait to get you alone, and we're just, heavy duty, whatever, which is weird because, like, you just met this person, but that's, it's just the nature of the beast, so to speak. Um, and needless to say, it didn't work out. And I told my friends about it, and they were like, that was for porn. I'm like, no. They're like, yeah, that was for porn. So I don't know what kind of college they're trying to promote where, if you want your kids to get laid, send them to this college. See what I'm saying? Um, I don't know if my agent knew and lied to me, or if the client lied to her. I don't know. Somebody lied somewhere because I'm not doing that. Um, if that's what I needed to be, involved with to be part of the industry, I wasn't willing to do it, and I guess this is not for me. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, set me on a little porn uh, audition. Yeah, that was really lovely. Let's see what else. A guy that I used to be involved with, his best friend was Albie Shore. We used to live in New York. We lived in Mount Vernon. I met Heavy D when I was there. I didn't actually talk to him, but I've seen him. When I was walking down the street, I seen some guy staring at me, and I'm like, who is that? Why is he staring at me? And then I realized he looked familiar. That was Heavy D. God bless you, Heavy D. We've lost so many people. It's just unreal. Let's see. After I did auditions, I would beat myself up, and I'd be like, what could I have done different? What should I have done better? And I would just beat myself up. And then I realized that was counterproductive. So there's no point in going through all that. So like I said, I live 45 minutes away from Kansas City. So I would just go to the stores, my favorite restaurants, and things of that nature. And I would distract myself by doing that. And that was better for me, and that was more fun than beating myself up about the audition. Um, I only made one audition in 3 years because, again, if you're not white in this area, you are not. We'll put you in a porn. But as far as putting you in anything with substance, you can forget it. Welcome to Missouri, baby. Welcome to Kansas. I'm not saying everybody around here acts like that, but it's a common mentality. Let's see what else. I pursued for 3 years, and I purchased a book at one point that I paid $300 for, and that book supposedly had all the phone numbers and addresses of all the people that you would make contact with in the industry. None of that information was accurate. So that was a colossal waste of money and a colossal waste of time. Let's see, what else? I went to the Acapulco Film Festival. My friend was involved with Albie Shore, like I said, best friends with Albie Shore, and I ended up, I'm backtracking, went to Albie Shore's birthday party when he turned 21, had a great time, met Mika Parrish, I think that's her name, Keith Sweat. This was back in 90s, I guess. Yeah. Um, met Keith Sweat, met Kid and Play. I walked up to Keith like I've known him for 5,000 years. I said, "Hey, Keith, what's up?" He says, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "Fine. You want to take a picture with me?" He said, "Yeah, sure." So that was awesome. He didn't have his nose up in the air, which was nice. Let's see. So I went to the Acapulco Film Festival to network with people in the industry. Okay. Writers, directors, producers, you know, the whole bit. And I took acting workshops with Bill Duke. If you remember the movie Predator, he was in that movie. Tall guy, probably about 6'4", 6'5". I don't know. He's huge. Gentle giant, very nice man. Very nice man. Had acting with him for a week because back then the Acapulco Film Festival was obviously in Acapulco and they changed locations, so I'm not sure where they hold it now. But I had acting workshops with him for a week and he is phenomenal. He's going to make you feel something. Now you can sit there and you can act like you're not going to feel nothing and you in control of your emotions. And the only thing I can say to you about that is good luck with that. Good luck with that. Um, we all did dialogues and monologues and that kind of thing. And when we were done, Bill said, "You know, y'all don't have a problem with sadness." No, correction. "You don't have a problem showing anger, but you have a problem showing anguish, sadness, and depression. You have a problem with that." My computer froze, sorry. It's being wonderful tonight. I'm just so thrilled. Okay, so anyway, I was rudely interrupted. Um, where was I? Oh, he's gonna make you feel something, okay? And he was like, "Y'all don't want to show anguish or depression or anything like that." And there was a young lady who her scenario was that her son had gotten shot and killed. That was her scenario, not in real life, people. That was her scenario. And she had to go to the morgue and she had to identify his body. And she did it, but she didn't do it with a whole lot of emotion. Bill's gonna make you feel something. Whether you want to or not, you're gonna feel something when he's done with you. So, uh, he said, "I remember I talked to you guys about details. Details, details, details. I keep talking to you about details." And he said to her, "I want you to think about this. This is your child, your flesh and blood that's shot. Details, people. Blood everywhere. Your child has lost his life. You have to go to the morgue and you have to identify his body. Now give it to me again." Whew. She did it again, and it sends a chill through me right now as I'm talking about it. Um, when she went to the morgue to identify him, and she saw him, figuratively speaking, saw him on the slab, she had to identify him. She fell to her knees and she screamed a blood-curdling scream. And I think I can safely say for everybody that was in there, we all had chills go through our body. Holy mackerel. Wow. Then there was another guy that did his monologue, and he just kind of went through it, you know, just went through it with not enough emotions. And Bill was like, he tried this angle and he tried that angle and he tried this angle and he tried that angle and nothing was working. So Bill finally said to him, "What do you do for a living?" And he said, "I'm a doctor." Well, now you understand. Uh, he's like, "Okay, well, that makes sense, you know?" Um, so he had him close his eyes and he said, "I always talk to you guys about details, right? Details, 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 details. This is your child." And his son or daughter, I think it was a daughter, she was, it was at her funeral and she was in the casket. And Bill said, "Details. Remember the details." She's laying in the casket in her favorite dress. She's an innocent angel laying in the casket. And you see your child in that casket. Give it to me again. By the time Bill was done with him, he was bawling. He was bawling. And again, I think we all felt chills because we could feel what that person is expressing, what they're feeling. We can feel that. And basically, naturally, you know, if you go into this industry, you want your audience to feel what you're feeling. We need to forget that you're acting. We need to feel what you're feeling. And if they're really good, you know, you end up fighting tears and sometimes you cry or whatever because you can feel it, you know. So Bill had said at one point, very wise man, by the way, very wise. He said, you know, there's a lot of partying, there's a lot of drugging, there's a whole lot of whatever in the industry, right? He said, and I was living on a wild, you know, going down a wild path. And he said the thing that woke me up was I woke up in a dumpster and I had no clue how I got there. So that was his wake up call to straighten up his life and get it going and, you know, get on with his career and get on with his life in a more productive manner. Um, and he's amazing. He's just an amazing person. And then he also said, you need to have a strong and solid spiritual foundation because if you don't, you could easily forget who you are because you're always representing and becoming other people. So you could easily lose who you are. He said you have to have a solid spiritual foundation or else you're going to be in trouble. He also said that um, you have to pursue producing and directing and writing. You have to pursue those angles because there are not enough acting jobs out there. There's just not. Okay? So you have to learn behind the scenes. You have no choice because there's just not enough work out there for you. So that stayed in my mind too. Um, what else? It was just amazing. I had met a bunch of stars. I met Robert Townsend. Do you see the look on my face? I wasn't impressed with him. He had his nose up in the air. He acted like he was the cat's meow. Stars need to not do that because we are the ones who give you your career. We are the ones that pay your mortgage. We are the ones that pay your car note. Okay? Without us, you don't have a salary. So you might not want to stick your nose up in the air to the little guy because you think you're all that. Without us, you are not anything so far as a famous actor because we are the ones who keep your career afloat. So you might want to keep that in mind. So I don't like him, needless to say. Um, I met Isaac Hayes. God bless you, Isaac. Um, what a wonderful man. What a wonderful man. I met him at an after party at John Singleton's house. He had rented a house that was sitting on top of a cliff overlooking Acapulco, and he had a swimming pool, and it was just amazing. And I was sitting on the couch, and if you were sitting across the room and you were watching me and Isaac talk, you would think that we've known each other all our lives because he makes you feel comfortable. He doesn't care that he's a legend. He's just freaking laid back. You know, he treats you like a human being. And he was a legend, and I'm so not. And he treated me like I was on his level. So when he passed away, I cried because I remember him treating me with respect, and that just really touched me. There was an incident with Robert Townsend where he came to our workshop that one particular day. And he started horsing around with somebody, and then he ran, and the person chased him, and then he fell. He actually fell on the ground. The ground was like cement, and you could hear his body go splat when he fell. I wasn't gloating because he fell, but I'm a firm believer in karma. A firm believer in karma. And you can better believe that when he fell to the ground, his nose wasn't up in the air. Instant attitude adjuster. Anyway, move right along. So, one of the guys that was in my workshop with Bill Duke, he was in The Predator, in case you guys don't remember. He was in the movie Car Wash, and he was in the movie Predator. And I had met Isaac Hayes, and a guy from my workshop with Bill Duke. He says to me, because we were at an after function, like it wasn't really a party, but it was like a social gathering, and he goes, "Oh, you met Isaac Hayes? Oh my God, can you introduce me to him?" Which is hilarious because I'm a nobody. But he thinks I've got pull because I talked to Isaac Hayes. It was freaking hilarious. So Isaac was talking to someone, and when there was a break in their conversation, I said, "Mr. Hayes, can you, excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I wanted to introduce you to someone that's in my class with Bill Duke, acting workshop with Bill Duke." And he's like, "Sir, it's such an honor to meet you, and oh my gosh, I've admired your work for such a long time." And he was just so excited, he didn't know what to do with himself. It was funny. And Isaac, like I said, he's so freaking laid back. He was such a sweetheart. I'll never forget him. Let's see, what else? At that particular social gathering, there were these dancers on stage, and I was on stage with them, horsing around and, whatever. And I used to dance myself. I used to perform on stage. I've done modeling. I was part of a dance and acting group, two separate things, but all together, if that makes any sense. And, honey, their noses were so up in the air. Woo! Woo! They just thought they were all that. Nobody could tell them nothing. What the hell ever. Get over yourself. The higher you are, the harder you fall. Keep that in mind. Okay? You stuck up little snoot. Don't do that. It's not attractive. It doesn't make people like you. And it doesn't make them want to hire you. Because if I needed professional dancers, if I looked at that snotty attitude, you wouldn't get hired from me. For what? You already got everything you need. As long as you got you got all that you need. Ugh. I've never acted like that, and I never would act like that. My friend and I did a inspirational sign language to shout to the Lord at the mall one time, and I also did a speech. It was on Martin Luther King Day, and I did a speech, and then we did the inspirational sign language. And before we got on stage and did our thing, this was at a mall in Kansas City. Before we got on stage and did our thing, this guy says to me, because me and my friend Regina were involved in this, and we've got our hair done, we got our makeup done, and we're all dolled out, right? And this guy says, "Excuse me, ma'am, are you famous?" And I just died laughing. I was like, no. But if I was like some people, my nose would be in the air, like, oh, he thought I was famous. Woo! I'm not full of myself. Even if I was a famous celebrity, I would never act like that because it doesn't make any sense. It's just totally stupid. And there are people in the industry that have been in the industry for a really long time. And then all of a sudden, they're a nobody. And they can't get hired anywhere to do any jobs. Or they got typecast into a certain character and they can't get another job. So now they go into drugs and alcohol and all this business. And it's just ridiculous, Don't put your nose up in the air. You could be a nobody by tomorrow. Just saying. I hope y'all will bear with me. I'm going to pop gum in my mouth because my mouth is dry. So I hope you don't mind. I know it's kind of tacky, but I'm sorry. I got to do it. Anyway. What else? Back in the day, a family member had done work for Nick Ashford, for Ashford and Simpson. And we went to their house afterwards. He had done construction for them. And they've got this beautiful house in Connecticut, and it's got the tennis courts, and it's got the swimming pool and the whole bit. I remember going to the restroom inside the house, and I got lost. Like, where am I going? That was interesting. Baby grand piano, just gorgeous. And they were not stuck-up snoots. They were actually really nice people. I met Luther Vandross that day, and I also met Stephanie Mills. Stephanie Mills is an itty-bitty, teensy young lady. She had on a black and white floral pantsuit, and she had on super hot pink high heel shoes. And she was still little. So that massively powerful voice comes from that little person. It's amazing. She wasn't a snoot either. Luther wasn't a snoot either. God bless you, Luther. Let's see what else. Like I said, my notes are gone, so I am just winging it. Acting, pursued that for 3 years. I actually did modeling also, but it was nonprofit. When I modeled my feet, like I said, he copped attitude the minute I walked in because I have a tattoo. Really, dude? Are you serious? I don't think I ruined your day. Anyway, apparently I did. When I did nonprofit modeling, that was a lot better because when people pay you, they think they own you. And their attitudes are all over the place. I mean, their egos are like massive. And I'm like, really? Are you freaking kidding me right now? I did a fashion show in the mall, and my friends came with me, and it was in the food court. Some malls will have fashion shows because they are promoting stores in the mall. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And what happened? When I first get up, when I first would get on stage for the first time, I would have stage fright like you would not believe, right? I'd be like, ugh. So with my first outfit, I was going to wear my sunglasses. Well, good luck with that. Um, I broke them in the car, and I'm having a cow. And my friend was like, "What's the big deal? You just get another pair." I don't have time to get another pair. So I had to deal with the stage fright without hiding behind my sunglasses. But yeah, non-profit is much better when you're not getting paid. And I know that sounds crazy. When I modeled my feet, I got paid well. I got paid $95 and $95 an hour for 3 hours. Okay, but I had FM at the time, a chronic pain condition, fibromyalgia, and I didn't know that I had it at the time. So by the next day, I was in so much pain because you're twisting your body this way, twist your body that way, turn your head that way, tilt it that way. You're doing all these weird things that you don't normally do. So your muscles are going, what is wrong with you? And I'm going to get you tomorrow. And it got me the next day. And my friends didn't know I had FM. I didn't know I had FM. I just knew that I hurt really badly the next day. And because they did not know that I had a pain condition, they were like, $95 an hour? You need to quit crying. I wish I made $95 an hour, blah, blah, blah. But I paid for that. I paid through my body. So that was not a freebie. I did pay. Did I? Oh, I remember asking John Singleton when I was at the Acapulco Film Festival. I was asking him, do you hire nobodies? And he's like, yeah. He said, when I first got started, I hired my friends from the hood. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But then I'm trying to have a professional conversation with him. And this lady walks by, and her pants are like painted on. I'm trying to have a professional conversation with him. She walks by, and he whipped his head around so hard and so fast that I thought he was going to snap the vertebrae in his neck because he was looking at her behind. And I'm thinking to myself, really, dude? Are you serious right now? So needless to say, he wasn't with me, if you catch my drift. I met Tony Lister. He used to play a break 'em up dude for movies. He's really tall. He's light-skinned, buff, really muscular and buff. And I met him a couple times at the festival, and he, each time he saw me, he said, you need to give me a hug. And then I'd see him at another time, you need to give me a hug. You need to give me a hug. I said, I'm going to start charging you for hugs. Which is hilarious, because he's a famous actor, and I'm so not, you know, and we were just going back and forth. It's pretty funny. Let's see. The acting industry is interesting in the sense of if you have long hair, they want you to chop it off. If you have short hair, they want to make your hair longer. I mean, they don't like you the way you are. They have to dramatically alter you, which is fine, especially for modeling, because, I mean, you know, you watch America's Top Model. What do? They chop your hair off, like, right out the gate. Or they make your hair really, really long if your hair is short. They want the opposite of what you are. But anyway, I'm going to go back to modeling, but let me go back to something else real quick before I forget. The industry is weird because they want you to have a SAG card, which is a Screen Actors Guild card. Without a SAG card, you don't get hired. No one will hire you. But without experience, you can't get a card. But without a card, no one will give you more experience. Everybody wants you to have a card. And it's kind of like the tail wagging the dog. If you don't get this, you can't get this. And it's just like ridiculous. You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere, and no one wants to give you that start. Even as a extra, they don't want to give you a start. Nobody cares. And you have to have something on your resume. But how are you going to get experience if no one gives you experience? You know what I'm saying? And my agent really didn't give me a whole lot of work, and eventually I got rid of them because that was useless. Being with them was useless. And then I had a couple of friends who I've known through the years that they were minding their own business, walking down the street, minding their own business, and somebody approached them and said, "Hey, would you like to be an extra in this movie we're filming down the street? Here's my business card." I was mad. I said, "Wait a second, what? I actively pursue for 3 years, and you got an offer just minding your own Kool-Aid? Are you serious right now?" But that's the way it works. Another friend got offered. She was in Minnesota. Where does she live? Minnesota? Milwaukee? I can't remember. But they were filming a movie, in her area, and she got to be an extra. They were filming in the stadium, the baseball stadium, and she was sitting in the audience, part of the audience for the movie. And she was just minding her own business, and someone just came out of nowhere and asked her. So it was like really weird. So, okay, so let me get this straight. So if you pursue, you're not going to get, but if you don't want it, you'll get offered something. Does that make any sense to you? Weird. Really weird. Let's see, what else? SAG card. You don't get hired without one. But you can't get one with no experience, so good luck with that. Something else I was going to say. Oh! Modeling. Pardon my gum, like I said, guys. I'm sorry. Modeling. If you are trying to get into this industry, which I'm not, I quit pursuing it like years and years and years ago. I got tired of people's attitudes. I got tired of their egos. I was tired. And nothing was panning out. It was a colossal waste of my time. I'm not going to say it was a complete waste of my time, because if you don't pursue something, you're not going to know if it's right for you to have. You won't know until you go after it. So I would never discourage someone from going after it. Unless you're a certain age and up, they don't want that. They want you when you're a young buck. Unless they're looking for a character that's that age, and they still want someone who's already in the industry. But anyway, so pursue it, because if that's your passion, I say go for it, because you just never know what you're supposed to have. You never know. But the modeling thing. There are some people who are hung up on nudity, lovemaking, passionate kisses. They just think all of that is just improper. And if that's the way you are, baby, that industry is not for you. If you cannot handle your hair getting chopped off, if you cannot handle having a mohawk with an orange stripe going down the middle, whatever it is that they want to do to you, you are not, I would not advise you to pursue this at all. If you are hyper religious,
and you think that you shouldn't be in the bed with somebody, you're having sex with them, you're not married to them. Are you freaking serious right now? They're called actors. You know the difference between real life and acting, right? Acting is pretending, it's not real. No one's going to see you with your boyfriend in the bed in a movie and think, oh my God, she's in bed with that guy. That's disgusting. She's not married to him. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Pardon my French. It's acting. Calm down. It's not real. Um, if you're hung up on nudity and the human body needs to be clothed 24/7, modeling is not for you. Let me repeat that. Modeling is not for you. Now, I didn't have to do new modeling, but I did a lingerie show for a friend of mine back in the day. It was a private party. It was like it's almost like Pampered Chef, but it's for lingerie and it's for couples who want to buy, sexy things or whatever. And I did it for a friend of mine. It wasn't a big deal. I was not completely naked. I wasn't wearing a lot of clothes, but I wasn't completely naked. But in a movie, you may have to be. Or if you're on a modeling shoot, you go to, you get hired to be a model for something. Um, you know, you may have to do that. What's the big deal? You were born naked. You did not come out of your mama wearing a three-piece suit. What's the big deal? It's not a big deal. Like prime example, America's Next Top Model. There was a point where they modeled and they were completely nude. They might have had like a little bit of underwears, but underwear is probably about that big, okay? And the rest of it was paint. Now, it didn't look like you were naked, but you were relatively naked. If that's something that bothers you and that makes you feel that that's a sin against God and you just trip off of that, that's not for you. You need to stick with church fashion shows. And I'm not being funny, I'm serious. You need to stick with church fashion shows and you need to stick with proper, prim and proper types of venues, because when you are hired to be a model, they want you to be a model. They don't want to deal with you crying. They don't want to deal with you whining. And they don't want to deal with you saying, I can't do that. You can't do that? Bye, go home. Don't waste our time. Get out. Because there's a million women who will be, and men who will be more than happy to take your place. So they aren't going to trip off of that. Get out. Next. So if you're, like I said, if you're hung up, don't do it. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Because you cannot pick and choose what you want to do. Now, with that being said, if they ask you to do something stupid, okay, you are a model and you're supposed to be dressed, and then they're like, well, why don't you go ahead and take your shirt down a little bit? Yeah, why don't you? Yeah, oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're so. Why don't you take it down more? There you go. Show us a little more cleavage. You know what? Why don't you take your shirt off and take your bra off, because you are just amazingly beautiful. Absolutely no. You get on the phone with your agent and you tell your agent this is not what we signed up for, and they trying to run game. We're not having it. So, don't get sucked into something that you didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you agreed to do this and then you get there and they try to flip the script and do something else. That's a totally different story. You know, you get there, everybody's doing drugs or something, something crazy, or it seems to be real shady and you're very uncomfortable. You talk to your agent about that. But so far as Hollywood goes and being famous or getting hired as a model starting out, there are things that you are going to be required to do. You may be required to be naked and hold someone of the same gender and act like you're romantically involved with them. It's a picture, right? But they want you to be seductive in the picture. And y'all are the same gender. It's acting, people. It's not real. So if you cannot handle all of those scenarios, this is not for you. I'm just saying. What else? I remember talking to this guy online, and I think I've covered all my points or the majority of my points because I lost my freaking notes. Um, I remember talking to this guy online. My grandmother used to be a professional singer. Her name was Jerry Wells, Jerri Wells, Wells. That was her show name, in case you want to go look her up. But anyway, and I usually don't talk about that, but since we are on the subject, I figured I would. So my grandmother had told me about shady things that can happen in the industry. They try to get you to take your clothes off. It's supposed to be clothed, and now it's not, or someone's trying to sleep with you, or something weird is happening. So I knew about some of the shady things that could happen in the industry, and I also knew that maybe they were supposed to pay you this and they didn't. So you have to get your agent involved. So I knew from those perspectives that there are some funky things that can go down, and you have to, like I said, you have to get your agent involved. So I was talking online with this guy, and he was like, "You trying to get in acting, and you're living in a fantasy world, and you think you're going to be famous, and you're wearing rose-colored glasses. What the hell are you talking about?" So after I got over the puzzlement of what in the freaking blue hell is he talking about, because I was very confused. But people online and in real life like to jump to all kinds of conclusions instead of asking investigative questions. It's not just people online, it's people in general. They jump to conclusions without investigating. Thank God they're not a homicide detective, because they would have Santa Claus as the perpetrator because it's around Christmas time and the person got killed, so it's probably Santa Claus. I mean, come on, people, use your brain. So anyway, you got to investigate. You have to ask investigative questions. Don't assume anything. Very irritating. So I got over my puzzlement at his ridiculosity, and I said, my grandmother was a professional singer, and she taught me about some of the things that can go wrong in the industry. So what in the hell are you even talking about? And we never talked about glitz and glamour and me being famous, signing autographs, and being escorted around in a stretch limo. What are you talking about? Maybe you shouldn't assume anything. Maybe you should ask questions. Wow. Wow. So I think I covered everything. I think. And I'm looking at the time because I don't know what time my show comes on. I don't know if it's 8 or if it's 9. I don't freaking know. But anyway, if you are going to pursue this industry, or you're in the process of doing it, or you're considering doing it, make sure that you're young. They want you young, usually starting off really young, especially for models. For acting too, really. Make sure you have a decent agent. Make sure you research your agent. Don't just hire someone. I didn't have to pay anything for modeling, and that's another thing. Oh. If somebody's trying to make you pay thousands of dollars right up front for modeling, run as fast as you can. Tyra was talking about this. Tyra Banks was talking about this, and she said, if somebody's interested in you as a model, they are going to pay the money for the test shots. They incur the cost of the test shots. If they love the test shots and they want to continue to do business with you, and they want to hire you, or you know what I mean, get you with clients and send you to go-sees and that sort of thing, then you're going to be required to get a portfolio. But nobody legit is going to make you pay all that money right out the gate. They pay the test shots. They see the potential. They want, they decide if they want to continue to do business with you, and then you go ahead and invest I don't know how much it is, $700, $800. I don't know how much a portfolio is, but then you invest the money for that, because when you go on go-sees, you obviously have to have a portfolio to show the client. Okay? So don't fall for the okie doke. Make sure people are legit. If they're not legit, Next. So I think I covered everything, I think. I think. Anyway, if you guys have any questions or comments, please let me know. I know one thing I wanted to say to you. I have a video called When Your Friend Hates You. And it's a true story about a person who has significant, do you understand what I am telling you? Significant psychiatric issues and all the BS that she pulled when we were, well, when I was her friend. She was never my friend. Anyway, I'm considering doing a When Your Friend Hates You Part 2. It pertains to the mafia, and I'm not going to say nothing else. And no, they didn't do anything. And no, it's not about any crimes that they were involved with or anything like that. But it does pertain to the mafia, and I'm not going to say anything else. If you guys want me to do a When Your Friend Hates You Part 2, let me know, and I will inform you of the madness and pathological BS that this person has said and done. And it reads like a movie, but it's real. I swear to you, on a stack of 1,000 Bibles, I swear to you, it's all real. Hollywood could probably make a movie off of this, but I wish it was a movie, but it's not. I mean, wow. Wow. Anyway, moving right along from that. Y'all let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for being special. Thank you for being you. Be safe when you travel. And I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you so much. And you guys have a great night. All right. Love you.